Dragon Age the Veilguard reviews are out and they are getting raving scores across the board from all professional journalistic outlets, giving it 9s out of 10s and 10s out of 10s and talking about how inclusive and great this game is for everyone, and it's fantastic. And that's if you take the words of these journalists. What could possibly go wrong with that? What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. I saw these reviews and I couldn't help but have a little bit of a half smile on my face just reading through them, because they're just absolutely abhorrently ridiculous if you're going to believe someone that's going into this game with an inherent bias that they're not revealing. Many of the reviewers that I've seen doing some background research on them are heavily on the LGBTQ plus spectrum, or identify as trans, or have something else going on upstairs where, I don't know, I feel like they have a little bit of a bias when it comes to reviewing a game that is pushing such inclusivity. So I couldn't help but take it a step further and say, okay, these are the reviews from the professional journals out there. Let's input this information into ChatGPT and have it spit out some information regarding what the overall consensus is. And what they said, holy crap, I wasn't prepared for this. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article breaking down how I asked ChatGPT to give me a summary of what the reviews of Dragon Age the Veilguard were, and it is definitely something. Dragon Age the Veilguard continues BioWare's legacy of inclusivity in the RPG genre, particularly regarding the LGBTQIA+ representation. The game offers players a rich array of romantic and platonic interactions, allowing them to engage in same-sex romances and flirtations across various characters. Because when I play a fantastical fantasy RPG setting in another realm, I care about banging everything I see, because yeah, that's how a brain normally works. The inclusivity extends beyond romance, with a robust character creator that allows queer players to shape heroes that represent their identities authentically. This thoughtful design has made the Veilguard a standout in terms of representation, establishing it as a milestone in LGBTQIA+ inclusion, similar to Dragon Age Inquisition, which, no, I mean, based off of the people that actually play these games and know what Inquisition was, sure, it started to go down that road and touch on some of these themes a little bit, but Veilguard pulls the proverbial band-aid off those scars to show the world exactly what they're trying to push here. Through its commitment to meaningful diversity and personalization, BioWare once again creates a space for LGBTQIA+ players to feel seen and celebrated in a mainstream RPG, which ironically, based off of that, would mean that the RPG is no longer mainstream. They took what was mainstream and made it for a particular segment of the gaming audience, which is exactly what the issue is that a lot of people have with this right now. The overall summary generated by AI discusses everything except the game itself, which you would think is why people would want to be playing this game. Nothing in the review summary says anything about any of that. It's all about sexuality, dialogue choices, and how people are feeling when they wake up one day. I'm like, how is this a Dragon Age game? What are we doing? What are we even playing here? What is this? Judging by the professional reviewers, there's a clear inherent bias from many of them that were given the opportunity to review this game. And it is curious, at least I find it curious, that these people were randomly selected or were the chosen ones at all of these major outlets to be the reviewers of the game, to make sure that it gave a certain perspective to it, to make sure that the people reviewing it would cling to the ideologies that were being pushed in the game. Ironically, this is exactly why these types of reviews always fly directly in the face of when the masses get the game, and the general public reviews show a stark contrast, proving what the gamers actually want to play will be far less glowing than what the critics gave the scores for it. And now that the game is being out there, screenshots are starting to circulate specifically about how far this game goes into indoctrination. Recent leaks from Dragon Age: The Veilguard have ignited a heated debate on Twitter, specifically around the game's approach to trans representation. The screenshots that I've been seeing have characters discussing top surgery scars, referencing the chest surgery that some trans people undergo. In a title confusingly focused on inclusivity, the conversations signal that BioWare's commitment to diverse representation is coming at any cost. They don't care if they burn the series to the ground, as long as they get their inclusion and diversity into it. At the end of the day, that's all that seems to matter. In one of the dialogue option choices, they say, "Nice story, but that's not me." Gender identity options, tattoo options, I'm trying to live up to that. I look good, enough reflection. So typically, a game in this genre might have a selection of options that you can pick from to feel closer and more connected to your character. But they are going full-on inclusivity with trans characters in seemingly every discussion you see. A screenshot that leaked recently has Tash saying, "Non-binary, I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on." Talk about indoctrination and pushing ideologies on people in a video game. And I get it. It's a video game at the end of the day. It's not the end of the world. But this is the kind of thing you got to worry about, especially with the younger kids, or even if you're not younger, even if you're just very impressionable and you really love this game and you want to feel more connected to it. I worry that people might feel enabled to go down this road of doing something really, really scary to their body that they would regret in the future. It'll always show the face of a hero who can get it done. And then the options for the scars are a lesson learned. My scars are badges of honor. These scars are sexy. So you have the option of saying your scars that you got for becoming trans are sexy. Huh? And this option selection establishes transgender identity and unlocks new dialogue options in future conversations, almost encouraging players to go down the trans path to find out what the dialogue conversations are. Do you see what they're doing here? And as I covered previously, the Veilguard's lead developer is openly trans. And the inclusion of this stuff all reflects an ideological self-insertion. Representation has little to no place in gaming. And that's a heated debate right now where people are like, "Oh, I want to see myself in a game. I need to see me in a game." And in reality, sure, you're going to have your one-offs, the weirdos out there that just have to see themselves in a video game. But for the vast majority of people that play games, really don't give a crap. We just want to play the game to have fun with the game. I don't need to see myself specifically in any title that I'm playing. It's almost like there's a lack of imagination in today's generation of people playing these games where they have to see themselves because they couldn't possibly envision themselves playing as a different character in another world. It has to be them there. It's kind of a weird level of narcissism. The model gamer said, "Hey EA BioWare, this sort of thinking did not exist during this time period this game is in. You are 100% pandering for an audience that has been proven doesn't put their money where their mouths are." And Crassy Kroll said, "I'm so pissed. I knew they were going to ruin this game. 10 years I've been waiting for this. I hope BioWare gets shut down." And this is exactly what's transpiring right now. This game was in development hell for upwards of a decade and got trashed and restarted multiple times. And they got to a point where they put a trans developer in charge of the project. They did self-insertion, got far too down the line to change anything. And they're like, "Well, whatever, let's just put the game out now anyways because we need to make some sort of money back on it." But right now, the game's at such a failed state that even if they sell 2 million copies of it, they still will pale in comparison to what they've poured into making this game. It needs to be a complete banger, selling millions upon millions of copies for it to even break even. And that's not going to happen. Dragon Age had originally, unapologetically, set some new industry standards for the LGBTQIA+ inclusion and Inquisition. But with the Veilguard, BioWare looks like they've crossed into a no-go zone. It's particularly concerning in a time when so many people are questioning the impacts of gaming on mental health and personal identity, and using these games as a vehicle to try to transition other people that might be on the fence about what they're thinking about their bodies because they woke up one day and felt a certain way about themselves. And while I always say game studios are allowed to make whatever hell game they want to, I look at stuff like this, ideologically driven, being very insidious with how they push a message. Game studios have a responsibility to approach these topics with caution, considering both the empowerment and the potential unintended consequences of the portrayals. They clearly didn't do anything of the sort with that here, and the gaming community on Twitter is completely teeing off on them today. And rightfully so. I have a feeling that this game is going to do much worse than BioWare ever could have expected, no matter what the great reviews are saying about it. But remains to be seen. I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
done.
So, you're a little canary, a little Rivani, and a little dragon?
Yeah.
Smash J, smash J,